And we are live. Hello, hello. This is Chala Dinkoy, CEO and founder of the Repositioning Expert. We're coming to you live with a Tuesday Tea Time with Chala with a special guest, Dr. Nihit Kumar, one of my favorite clients. And he's here to talk to us about finding a potentially $1 million niche. But first, let's meet Dr. Nihit Kumar. Do you want to introduce yourself to everyone?
Sure. Hi, Shala, and hi, everyone. My name is Dr. Nihit Kumar, and I'm a psychiatrist by training, and I specialize in addiction psychiatry and child and adolescent psychiatry, which basically is a fancy word of saying I work with both kids and adults who are struggling with mental health issues like depression, anxiety, trauma, as well as substance use issues that includes, all of the substances, the drugs of abuse that you can think of. So that's basically what I do.
That's great. So tell us about your clinic.
Great. Yeah. So I opened my clinic about 3, 4 months ago now. And it is an addiction focused clinic. I do mental health with it. But again, as I said, I love working with, all ages and substance use disorders. So it's a brand new clinic. It's an outpatient clinic. So it's not a residential program or inpatient program where you come and stay. But you basically, if you're struggling with substance, drugs of abuse, then you come like you go to a doctor's visit. We do an evaluation. It's a comprehensive assessment of what the problem is, how severe the problem is, and then we make a treatment plan together. We figure out what you need, and that could include a variety of things like medications or therapy or counseling or referral for other specialists. And so we do that, and then you get to go home, and then you come back once in a while and continue to work on your recovery.
That's great. So tell everyone how you came to find me.
Great. Yeah, that's an excellent question. Thank you for asking that. So I started my clinic and I was doing a little bit of marketing, which now I know was, it's organic marketing, but it was not targeted marketing. And
Mm,
so I was very confused about, I knew how to do marketing, but I don't have a marketing background. And
mm,
so I was very confused about how do I reach my target audience? Like how do I present myself in front of them?
mhm.
And so I started reading some things. I started listening to podcasts, and one of the podcasts, "Entrepreneurs on Fire," which Chala was a guest speaker on, I heard about her, and bing, 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 a light went off in my head, and I immediately contacted her,
Mhm.
and she agreed to work with me, and so we are here. And so even before we started working together, I had actually, found her. I read her book, The Gentle Marketing. Right?
Wow.
I did.
You're the guy.
Yeah, yeah, I read her book, and the book and your philosophy of marketing really resonated with me.
Mm,
It's not about pushing your clients or your patients. It's all about letting them know what you have to offer
yeah, yeah,
and what kind of value can you provide for the pain that they're struggling with,
yeah.
right? And I think that's what led me to kind of reach out to you.
So what kind of marketing were you doing before?
I was creating some videos for social media. We were posting some, recovery oriented stuff on social media. And then I've always done speaking engagements. So I was continuing to speak at a variety of stages.
Mhm.
And I can talk more about like how I realized I could be even more targeted and there could be more things that I could have done at the time when I was speaking. And that's what I learned through the process.
Yeah, I mean, my God, you were the best like student. I mean, you're like doctors are lifelong students, right? So you were like the best student because like you would like take in all the information and then implement it as much as you could, and then you would get results, which is why we're here today. So I love that. So tell us from what you remember, because it's been several months since we started working together. What was the process that we went through to start to figure out how to market your business?
Right. I think one of the first things I remember was, identifying my target audience, right?
Yeah.
That's what you helped me with, kind of figuring out who's my preferred demographic that I need to work with and reach out to, right?
Yeah.
And then you gave me a framework of how to go about doing that. So I remember, we identified individuals by not individuals, but groups of people by their organization or associations and things
Yeah.
like that, right?
Yeah.
And then how do you do the fact finding, about that, like the market research about that, and then what's the next step, and what's the next step, and so eventually, I think that process worked very well. When I did reach out to folks, sometimes I had to make cold calls, but that's okay. That's what I learned, right? And that was the fun part of it. But as a doctor, I'm not used to cold calls
I was
or
just
making cold calls. I'm used to receiving them, right? But I had to do that and overcome my fear of, doing that. But in the process, I learned, I can actually reach these folks who are really struggling with what I have to offer, and that
gonna.
was a wonderful process to walk through.
Yeah. So, that it's so funny that you say like you've never done this before, right? So many clients are in resistance to doing this process. And because it's scary, they've never reached out to people to ask them about their problems around what they offer, right?
Mhm.
So, how did you find that process? What was like the scary part and what was the reward?
Well, the scary part is always, at least for me, it was always about, people are going to see me as pushing them,
Mm,
right?
mm,
And the idea that it's icky, it's manipulative, and I think part of that was just in my head, right?
mm,
Because
mm,
when I did reach out and have had those conversations with other people, I didn't get that feeling, and so
right.
that gave me more confidence that people actually appreciate what I have to say.
Mhm,
And in the process, I found a few lawyer friends of mine, and
mm.
I reached out to them, and they were very, and they were very appreciative of what I was trying to do, and they're the ones who connected me to another organization, which helped me out.
Yeah, so tell us. So we're there. So let's talk about the success. So tell us
Sure.
what happened. The title of this special Tuesday tea time is that you found a potential of a $1 million when we did the math niche. Tell us about that.
Right, right. So, continuing the conversation with the lawyer friends of mine, a few of them that I talked to mentioned this organization, which is like a Judges and Lawyers Association program, which is basically sort of an employee assistance program for the judges and the lawyers in the state. So when we, kind of talked, we figured there are about 6,000 lawyers, practicing lawyers in the state
Mhm.
of Arkansas.
Yeah.
And if you give and take the prevalence of mental health, it's about, let's say, 5%.
Yeah.
So we added up the numbers and we figured out the cost, the yearly cost of acquisition of those patients, or potential patients, and
Mhm.
it came to about 1 million. So basically, that's where the title comes from. Is
Yeah.
this could be $1 million service industry where I could potentially provide care to not just the lawyers themselves, but their family members, their parents, their kids who are struggling with addiction.
Yeah.
Um,
That's wonderful. That
yeah.
is really wonderful. So the vertical of the EAPs or
Mhm.
that niche of EAPs, now that you have the target in your mind, how does that change your marketing plan?
Right, and that was a big shift because initially I was thinking about targeting directly to clients or patients, right?
Mhm.
And I figured, well, working with EAPs and providing them the solutions is a better way of reaching even more clients.
Right.
And so that helped me understand how to change my marketing strategies, who to talk to, what to do when I'm speaking at events.
Mm.
In the process, you helped me start a newsletter,
Mm.
and so that was amazing. I mean, maybe a newsletter was in my future, but I couldn't imagine that in the first 3 months of working with you, I'll start a newsletter, right? And so, kind of just working through those interventions, those strategies, one step at a time.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say I did 100% of what you told me to do. I'm still working on that, right? But I think I'm with the coaching that you offered, the suggestions that you offered, I'm a lot further in this process than I imagined I would be.
Wonderful. That's wonderful. So, and you did a lot of the work, which is why you have the success. And we finished our program together, and you decided to work again together.
Mhm.
So what made you do that?
Well, I see the value in what you offer, right? Like I said, it's, maybe I would have figured all of this out by myself in a year or two, but I would not have imagined doing that in the first 3 months of us working together. And I
Got-
think that's where the value comes into play,
got
right? And as I said, it's a new clinic. I'm very much looking for new patients,
Yeah.
because I know there's a big need in our community, and there are people struggling out there right now who need my help and could benefit from talking to me, right? And so marketing for me now is about letting those people know I exist, right?
Exactly.
And the faster, the more I can do it, the better it is for all of us.
Yeah, exactly. And the more focused you are, the more you can hit them in their world because they only, exist within the means of their world. So once you penetrate their world, you can intercept them with all the messaging. So that's amazing.
Exactly.
What marketing advice do you have to give to other small businesses like you?
Right. Well, I'm fairly new to the process, so take it from a person who is fairly naive. But the two things I think every new business needs to know is one, try new things out. Don't be scared to try things out, even if it feels uncomfortable. Like, the perfect example is me, right? Like, marketing to me was not natural. It is still not natural, right? But
You're doing
but I listened to my mentor, right? And I'm not afraid to try things. So that's one thing that you have to do.
That's great.
The second one is you actually have to do the work. It's not just about learning. You have to put that into process. You have to keep doing it, and that's where I am right now. Is I'm learning a lot of strategies, but I'm also trying to implement as many of them as I can.
Yeah.
And I think those two would go a long way in helping you out.
What's the scariest thing you've had to do in our work together?
Oh, it was, I think, making those cold calls that I talked about earlier. I had to go through, I researched the websites, I found a few people.
Uh-huh.
And then I remember the first time I was about to call someone, a complete stranger that I did not know. I was like, I almost did it and then didn't do it. And then I almost did it and didn't do it.
I
And,
love it.
I had to tell myself, like, don't think anymore. Just pick up the phone, put the number in, and call. And then you can think about it. So once the phone started ringing, then I didn't have time to think about it. And then it went okay, I guess.
That's amazing. And then that is how you found the niche, right?
Yes, that was the process of getting me to the niche.
Wow. And just to be clear for people who are listening, in my programs, I don't ever encourage anyone to do cold calling, but in Nihit's case, like he didn't this was such a potentially rich niche that he had to, and he didn't know anybody in it, right? That was the
Mhm.
whole thing. Like you just didn't know. And I never told you to go and cold call. I don't know. Cause usually what I teach is like find someone to refer you in to call
Right.
or belong to the same association where you can say, name drop something, right? In
Mhm.
common. So warm up but you didn't, you just did it. Like you just did it. You just did it on your own. You said, I got to reach them. I got to ask them. And it worked out. That's
Mhm.
so amazing. So congratulations, pat on the back,
Thank
and
you.
more to come. What new things are you thinking of doing in the next 3 months?
Right. So one of the things I'm thinking of doing is kind of really honing down on things that have worked in the past, right? So now that I've identified that EAPs and associations are my target, I'm going to have to figure out ways of reaching them constantly. So whether it's by my newsletter or whether I'm speaking doing speaking engagements for them,
Mhm.
or meeting them at events, those are the things that I have to plan out. So I know we've talked about putting a marketing plan together.
Exactly.
And so that would be really my focus is to spend as much time kind of planning it out and implementing it.
That's
Um,
great. So, lastly, and thank you so much for all of this, but what advice do you want to give to people who are on the fence and thinking about hiring a coach like me?
um, um, I was in the same boat not very long ago, right? And it's you sometimes can't even imagine the benefits of having a coach, and
Mhm.
that's the biggest struggle. That's what why people stay on the fence, right?
Mhm.
And I would say, and of course, look at your finances and your situation in your business right now, but take the leap, right? Try it out, see what happens, and if you don't like it, great, right? It's fine. But I guarantee you that working with a mentor who knows what they're doing is going to help you.
Mhm.
And that's just the bottom line.
That's wonderful. So, how can people reach you, Nahid?
Well, my website is positive. Well, my clinic's name is Positive Recovery, and my website is positiverecoveryar.com.
Mhm.
My clinic phone number is 501 830 1162. And so, if anyone's looking for, if anyone's out there struggling with alcohol or opiates or methamphetamines or any other substance of abuse, whether it's you yourself or a family member or a loved one or a friend, and you're in the Central Arkansas area, please give us a call because I do not want you to struggle anymore. and I'm here waiting for your call and waiting for our services to help you out. And we've got a fantastic team of people that can really provide a high quality care that you need. So let us know.
I believe you. He's such a good student. I'm sure he's a great doctor. That's how I know. How you do anything is how you do everything.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much for being a guest and all the best.
Thank you so much, Chala. Appreciate it.